83, 84, 85, and 89, when the war was going on there. And many of the things I did were in association with the refugee aid work, and there were refugee camps inside the country with displaced people. And I was taking an American congressman there because the people who had been displaced by the Salvadoran army, who had ravaged their villages and killed their people and tortured them and treated them despicably. And they were being, the Salvadoran army was being supported by our tax dollars and propped up by our military advisors. So I wanted this congressman to see what was happening, and I took him into this camp. And sometimes, as I've found in various places, the horror simply overwhelms one. And I said to, there was another person who was with us, and I said, I have to go back to the truck. I'm sorry. You folks go on and keep talking. I can't hear these stories anymore. I have to go back to the truck. And I started across this compound, very open area, ringed with these temporary huts with the UN's blue plastic roofs and their sewers running open through them. And as I was walking toward the truck, wanting to not see anybody, I noticed up ahead of me in the middle of this clearing a little spindly tree, and beside it a little boy standing there. And I thought, I don't want to see him. I don't want to know he's there. I don't want to care that he's there. I just want to go by and blow off whatever he wants me to do or say. So I kept walking, and he kept standing there, and he didn't say anything, just looking at me. And as I got closer, I realized he was holding a little rubber ball. And I got very close to him and was about to go by and couldn't do it. And I stopped, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. And I held out my hands, and he threw me the ball. And I threw it back to him. And he threw me the ball again. And before I could throw it back to him the second time, kids ran from all around us, and suddenly there was a semicircle of kids, probably 20 of them, laughing and jumping up and down, and I was throwing the ball back and forth one at a time to each of these kids. And before I realized that, I was laughing and jumping up and down and feeling suddenly re-energized. And that stays with me to this day, the idea that what you need is an injection sometimes of the vital fluids that flow through people who are innocent and caring and open and honest.
And sometimes if you put out your hand, somebody will throw you a ball.
That's exactly right.
All right. Mike Farrell, everybody.
How about you? Are we going to talk about your... Can we hear? I mean, we heard just a little. Can we hear a little bit about your, beyond your...
I'm a, really hard to cure optaholic.
Good for you.
And I do believe that change is possible. I believe we need to make connections better.
Yeah.
I believe we need an independent media that's truly independent, that can help us meet one another.
Right.
And figure out what to do with the information that we hear about what's happening in the world. So time after time, I've started independent media projects. The most recent one is GRITtv. And I just encourage you all to check it out. It is, I call it We TV, not He TV. We're in a new moment with respect to the media, where the media can be a group project. We're online, we're on satellite, we're on television, we're on cable. We're interested in your videos. We're interested in the work that you're doing. You can send it to us. We can send you back clips of what you've done that you can distribute to your friends and relations on your iPhones, on your computers. And we're also seen by probably 500,000 people around the country on Dish Network, satellite channel 9415, Free Speech TV, the country's oldest and most widely seen non-commercial channel. So I believe as a media critic, we've never had a more full of potential time to be able to raise our voice, to compete with the other guys. But we're up against it, no question.
Yep.
I was shocked and annoyed this week. I shouldn't have been shocked, but to see the almost no coverage that went to the 250,000 marchers for equality on the Mall, when 60,000 teabaggers a month and a day ago had occupied the airwaves for week upon week upon week upon week. Yeah. So we still have a media that's more scared of the right than they are of us. I don't know why that is, and I hope that we can change it. With your help, we will.
Well, bless you. And for those of you who haven't seen Laura's show, she has on the people who are at the core of all of these events. She is remarkable in seeking these people out, getting them there, and then asking probing questions and making them prove themselves, and it's really quite wonderful.
Well, I hope that you'll all participate at some point. We privilege the conversation and the question, and I think we think better when we think together in public. So, think together in public. Questions, comments, people. Ariel is here, wonderful event intern at the Strand bookstore.
How you doing? I read Just Call Me Mike. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
I really admire your passion to get out and make your positions known and to make your dreams and other dreams come true. I think that's really a great thing. And your passion to get movies, important movies made. I know the fight is even more difficult sometimes. I was just wondering if you've completely given up on acting or completely given up on movies and just going towards these causes that you find that are important.
Oh, no. I will never give up, on anything. I think that it's an important business. People are out there making terrible, terrible stories with terrible, terrible messages, and the audience is being devoured by them as they devour them. So we need people that are doing thoughtful, hopeful, meaningful motion pictures and television shows, and I intend to do everything I can to continue to do that.
Do you have a favorite one right now?
I have a picture in development, and in development in my business means somewhere between the trash can and the screen, and you don't know where it's going to end up. But hopefully it'll end up on the screen, and it's about the story of Chief Standing Bear of the Ponca tribe, who was one of those tribes that was relocated by the American government back in the 1800s when American Indians, Native Americans, were not considered people. And Chief Standing Bear was the first Native American who ever spoke, was allowed to speak in an American courtroom as a result of quite extraordinary courage on his part. So it's a really wonderful story that I hope will be a film.
And is there one show or movie that you love that's out there right now?
Oh, gee, what have I seen lately? What have we seen lately, sweetie, that we loved? Julia, yeah. And what was that thing about the cleaning company? Sunshine Cleaners. Just real people trying to figure out how to make it, and there's a certain kind of spark in some people, and you just think, God bless.
All right, more questions. I think there was one over here. Yes. In the pretty sweater.
I know that when Ossie Davis was alive, you were very involved with Mamiya's case,
yes,
which is, according to Equal Justice USA, was one of the worst cases of injustice in that century, anyway, last century. Now I've heard through the Mamiya Coalition, Free Mamiya Coalition, that the U.S. Supreme Court is juggling to restore the death penalty in his case. And by the way, their number is 202-479-3000. If you could please tell them, that if they were unpopular when they made George Bush president, they will be unpopular if they restore internationally unpopular. So I was wondering if you're aware of, you probably are, about the effort to get the Justice Department to consider the constitutional denial of his constitutional rights. Anyway, I have a letter here, if anyone is willing to sign. And if you're doing anything currently on his case.
Other than continuing to talk about it, I'm not. I was for many years co-chaired with Ossie the Committee to Save Mumia Abu-Jamal. We had a bit of a falling out when they fired the Len Weinglass, which I thought was a terrible mistake, and they brought on two attorneys that I thought handled it not as well. Robert Bryan is his representative now, who's a very high-class, top criminal defense attorney, and is doing really a good job. You may be aware of a journalist named David Lindorf, who has written a terrific book on the case. Killing Time is the name of the book. And Lindorf continues to do investigation, and some of his investigation, if it's ever brought into court, is going to blow the case sky high. So other than speaking on it and doing, what there is to be done, let me say candidly, I don't know if Mumia is innocent or guilty. I wasn't there, but it's very clear to me that he didn't have a fair trial.